call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
And welcome into the Pod at the Palace post-game live reaction show presented by SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with you to break down Arkansas's 105-85 win over Texas. Razorbacks went out with a bang at Bud Walton Arena there. The Nolan Richardson statue got announced. It's a great night at Bud Walton Arena. Double bye secured for the Razorbacks, so no funny business this weekend. The Hogs improved to 22-8 on the year, 12-5 in SEC play. Andrew, what do you make of what we saw at BWA tonight?
Well, there's a lot of things that I want to that this is a good night for a lot of reasons. One, Arkansas has secured very solid standing for the SEC tournament, which I know we don't really care about, but not having that extra game is going to be huge as well. I think this is a very nice win to secure Arkansas into that 4 or 5 seed range in terms of NCAA tournament time. This was also a good win for the vibes. This was also a good win for the team morale. Coming off of a really, rough performance against Florida, you wondered if that was going to affect Arkansas's confidence. And I think we realized very early on, no, this team is still very confident, especially when they play a team like Texas that kind of allows them to play their game. Arkansas took it to them, man. They were super efficient offensively, and it kind of just speaks to how dangerous this team is that they can so consistently create these opportunities offensively inside Bud Walton Arena specifically, but we've seen them do it on the road. We've seen them score more than this on the road. Arkansas's offense, aside from their most recent performance, is about as consistent and a well-oiled machine as you can get. They shot the ball really well tonight. They actually didn't take as great of care of basketball as they normally do, but usually when Arkansas playing their game, man, you're just not going to beat them at that style. And Texas certainly couldn't beat them. I thought the big difference in this game is how Arkansas shared the ball versus how Texas really didn't, which made them a little bit easier to defend. Texas didn't have a prayer. Arkansas, the only reason they didn't score 120 is because they missed some open lob dunks and, kind of took their foot off the gas late. Arkansas pretty much got whatever they wanted in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And after last weekend, some people probably needed a reminder of what Arkansas is capable of when they're playing well. And you got it tonight against the tournament team, so a job well done by the Razorbacks. That's just a nice bounce-back dub, and there's a lot to like that came out of it. Every Arkansas, and this will continue. Arkansas makes it through the entire regular season without taking back-to-back losses. Every time they've gotten popped, they've responded in kind, and they did in this game. So good on them. Darius Acuff got back to business with a big-time double-double. He was awesome, and he looked the part, and we've been waiting to see that. He had 3 games where it was just a little bit not what we've grown accustomed to. So for him to play the way that he did, got to have Razorback fans feeling really, really good. Trevin Brazile goes for a career-high 28 points in his final game at Bud Walton Arena, which makes me incredibly happy. That was awesome. And it wasn't just the points. It was great to see him knocking down threes. We've been missing that. But he was aggressive. He was assertive. He had a windmill in transition again. Of course he does in his final game at Bud Walton Arena. He dunks on Volatitis down there, which you'd love to see. And then he was playing the 5, and he was Arkansas's best line of resistance in the post. He's blocking his shot, muscling up with him a little bit in there. So one of Trevin's best games comes in his last game at Bud Walton Arena. Got to be my MVP for the report card from what he did there. Very, very happy for him to go out that way here in Fayetteville.
Yeah, when Trevin Brazile makes threes, which he made a lot of tonight, and he hadn't really done that in quite some time. He hasn't had a game where he shot it this well in a while, and we kind of wondered where that was going. For most of SEC play, I know that y'all are going to be stunned to hear this. For most of SEC play, Trevin Brazile has been playing good basketball for Arkansas. The one thing that kind of had been missing was the three-point shot. And so when you get it going tonight, you're still making those plays on defense. You're rebounding pretty well. You're having tip-ins on offense. The dude is a complete package. And when you talk about this Arkansas team and how far they're going to go in March, look no further than Trevin Brazile. If you're going to knock off a 1 seed in the Sweet 16, if you're going to be a team that plays past the first, second weekend, you're going to need guys like Trevin Brazile to look like that. And, would it be easier if he was just that guy all the time and we didn't have to have these conversations? Of course. And certain matchups make it harder for him to look like that guy. But it was a nice reminder of sort of what his capabilities are. And, yeah, we joked coming into this game that we were like, man, we're kind of upset with Trevin coming out of that Florida game. So it sucks that his final game at Bud Walton is coming when we're all kind of a little bit annoyed with him. What a way to reverse the script. He gave us a poster dunk, gave Arkansas a bunch of blocks there in the middle, was really good protecting the rim. You're right. They were able to get by in this game playing him at the 5 which I felt like was a huge key to this matchup. And Arkansas was still able to kind of do what they wanted to do offensively, and it didn't really hurt them too bad defensively when Trevin was at the 5. I thought he was awesome. DJ Wagner really stepped up big in this game for Arkansas. I thought he was amazing. And really, Pringle gave Arkansas about 4 good minutes of some good action there, but you really didn't get much from either of your front court guys. Didn't really matter in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned DJ there. He just continues to get a little bit better every game, and he's starting to look like the DJ that was playing at the end of last season for the Razorbacks. And if they get that version of him going into March here, that's a really good thing for Arkansas. Yeah, 15 points. He was 6 of 9 from the field, made 3 threes, drove baseline and Tremont Mark and dunked one. And, yeah, he was all over the place on the defensive end of the floor. He looked really, really good out there, and happy to see that. He's comfortable. The team in general, I thought, looked like it was a combination of things. One, coming out of the gates, they looked like they were playing pissed off, and you love to see it. They should have been after what happened over the weekend. Then they looked like they were having fun out there again. It was really cool. Yeah, you mentioned Nick Pringle. I thought he played great minutes at the start of the game. Right away, he was getting after it, and then the start of the second half, the same thing. And I know he gets frustrated with the fouls that get called on him and everything, but maybe and the game was well in hand. But if there was going to be any inkling that Texas could come back, it was going to be, hey, we're just going to keep dumping it inside. We're going to foul those bigs out, and we're going to win a war of attrition in the end. And for Pringle to come out there and get 2 fouls in like 12 seconds called on Volatitis to get him out of the game within 2 minutes of the second half, that was huge. And Acuff drove in on him and got one of the calls, but Arkansas doing that just put the final nail in Texas's coffin. They probably weren't going to come back anyway because Arkansas was going to score whenever they wanted to, but that was good stuff there from Nick Pringle for sure. I thought they had some good game plan in there. Doubling it early in the ball screens to get it out of Swain's hands. He's a good player. So I thought that was a good, little X's and O's adjustment that they made. I thought they were doing a good job of frustrating Volatitis in there until he get, the fouls started piling up and he started getting his buckets, but the double teams were there. The help side was a little bit better. So it was good. And it was nice to see the 3 balls fall in for Arkansas again. Hadn't been happening the last couple games. They come out here in this one and go 11 for 19. You're not going to beat the Razorbacks when they go 11 of 19 from 3 and they shoot 30 free throws. They will beat anybody in a game like that.
Yeah, and I think that when you're playing that efficient on the offensive end, it's easy to say that. But how often do we talk about that where we're like, man, I know this team has their strengths, this team has their weaknesses. Forget that. Let's be who we are and then kind of flip it on them. And you look up at the end of the game, what do you know about Texas going into the game? Okay, you got 2 guys that like to ISO, and you got a big guy in the middle that can demand a lot of attention. The big guy had 18 points. He was demanding a lot of attention. He had his moments. Both of those guys that like to ISO had their moments in this game. Swain, I think he had 16 points on 5 of 10 shooting. Tremont Mark had some really nice moments in this game. It didn't matter. Arkansas didn't go into this game being like, oh, let's see if we can stop Texas from doing what they want to do. No, let's just do what we want to do. Let's just play our game. They're not going to be able to play it better than us. And then you look up at the end of the game, and Texas, they wound up with 17 team assists. But there was a point late in the first half where they had 1. They racked up a lot of those late in the game. I felt like Arkansas kind of lulled Texas into playing their game. And then when you're up 24 points, it's like, sure, pound the ball inside, get fouled a few times, see if you're really going to erase this deficit that way. You felt like Arkansas, if they were playing the way they were playing offensively, it really didn't matter what Texas was going to do tonight. And if you listen to what John Calipari and listen to what these other coaches say, that's the way they view their team, that it doesn't matter what the opponent is doing. Obviously, you're going to scout and game plan and try and prevent some things and pick up some tendencies on film, but we just got to be who we are. And if our individual pieces play to their potential, it doesn't really matter. And in this game, it's not even like everyone played way above their threshold. I mean, Billy Richmond was just kind of okay in this game. Malik Ewan was just kind of okay in this game. Malik Thomas was pretty good, but nothing crazy from him either. So, what is even one of those situations where Arkansas just played completely out of their minds?
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. You mentioned Swain, and yeah, if you look at it at the end of the game, it's like, oh, he had 16 and 9. He was pretty good in there. The dude scored 8 of their first 10 points. And you were kind of looking at it going, good grief, is he going to be the guy that goes for 30 on Arkansas tonight? And they did a great job of shutting that down the rest of the game. And credit to be, kind of distributed around there, because there were times where we mentioned Brazil having to go down and play the 5, and that puts a smaller body on Swain. I thought Billy did a great job on him in this game. And, so maybe if okay, Billy, you didn't score 20 points tonight, but if you can kind of take their best player and make sure he doesn't score 20, then we'll take that. So good on him. And you know, fair talk on Trevin, fair talk on Pringle, DJ. We got to talk about Darius Acuff here. You know, it's a little bit of an uneasy feeling the last couple weeks, right? Like he's been under 40% the last 3 games, shown some bursts, like some spurts in there. It's like, oh yeah, he's still in there. But you wonder, like, how much is the ankle really bothering him? How much is fatigue setting in? What's really going on here? He looked great in this game. Now he started 2 of 8 from the field. He had a couple threes, but he couldn't get anything to fall from around the rim. But then, yeah, you look up at the end of the game, 28 points. He's 8 of 15 from the field, so he's, you know, over 50%. 4 of 6. You love to see it from 3. Gets to the free throw line 10 times. I mean, hell, I felt like he should have shot 20 free throws in this game, but at least he's starting to get there more. That free throw rate's jumping up, but the 13 assists is ridiculous. You knew it was going to be a good night on the assist front when he threw that lob from half court to Billy like a minute and a half into the game, and he dunked that one. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's dialed in from the passing standpoint. It helps when you have a team in the Razorbacks who love to fly. They had 10 dunks in this game, and they were 20 of 25 around the rim.
Yeah, when Darius is playing the way he is, which obviously the scoring alone is enough to swing a game. Like the scoring puts enough pressure on teams, and obviously when he drives, defenses collapse. They're always trying to make sure they can bump him a little bit. Refs got to start helping him out a little bit. There could have been about, I'd say, conservatively speaking, 4 to 6 fouls extra called, while Darius Acuff is attempting a shot, whether that's in the lane or whatever. But when he's playing the way he is, not only does it make it easier for everyone else, he's so good at finding those situations. He's so good at being one step ahead where he starts, getting it going a little bit. Teams start adjusting. He's already one step ahead of you. He's hitting Billy Richmond. He's cutting. Oh, he's hitting Malik Thomas. He's in the corner. He knows you're going to kind of cheat off. Boom, that corner 3's there. There was one, like they had, there was a ball that went out of bounds. There's about 7 seconds on the shot clock. He's the inbound guy. Just one quick little exchange with you and boom, bounce pass, dunk. Like he is so good at, I have 7 seconds to make a play. Okay, we'll have this done in 3. And just finds those reads so easily and so seamlessly. He allows him to play at a speed faster than everyone else, which is funny because, I think that the draft guys, they look at him and they say, this guy isn't that explosive of an athlete. He doesn't have a 40-inch vertical. He's not like the fastest guy end to end. If you watch the game, everyone looks like they're moving in slow motion when they're trying to defend Darius Acuff because he already knows where he's going way before you figured it out. 13 assists, and guys play better. They run the floor a little bit harder when they know they're getting the ball. Nick Pringle, believe it or not, sprinted down floor, beat his man down. Acuff found him. You love having a point guard like that not only is going to get his and make everyone's job easier, he's also going to reward these big men and keep them involved in the game. I thought he did such a great job of that. And yeah, I knew things were a little bit different, Curtis. Pregame, and we got there like an hour and a half early. We were dialed in today. Arkansas pretty much put on a dunk contest during pregame warmups, which isn't
as soon as
uncommon.
They ran out. Yeah,
which isn't uncommon. Teams do this all the time. But what game was it? The Missouri game, Curtis, where you texted and you were like, dude, these dudes didn't even hardly warm up. Like they are just waiting until the game happens and then they're going to turn it on, which is what they did in that game. This was not that type of day where they were like, we're bumped up, we're bruised up, we just kind of got to make it through. They were active about an hour before the game, cheering each other on, playing a little bit of, playing. Malik Ewan was playing tag with one of the GAs. Like they were just very active. And Darius Acuff throws a little bounce pass to himself and throws down a dunk while everyone's doing all their little dunk contest stuff. And I'm like, one, Darius Acuff's not the best dunker on the team by any means, but like the fact that he wanted to get in on that tells you that he ain't too worried about whatever nagging little bumps and bruises he's got. Sure. And I felt like everybody, you could tell there was a little bit more energy with the way the Razorbacks played. I don't know if that was coming off a loss energy. I don't know if it's now March energy or just we're maybe finally healthy for the first time energy, but I loved it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I know one of the things that Cal said on his radio show on Monday was that he felt like, because they're banged up like every team is at this stage of the season. And so they've been going easier in practice like most teams do at this stage of the season. But he felt like they were starting to lose their edge a little bit. So he said they actually, you think, man, just get them all the rest you can and then go out there on the game and see what happens. But he ratcheted practice up the last couple of days. So it stands to reason that's something that they talked about with warm-ups too. Like, hey, let's go out there and create our own energy and get ready to play. And they definitely did that in this game. They came out with their hair on fire. So the start of the game reminded me of how they looked at the start of that Vanderbilt game, where they just came out right away and put it on them. We're like, good grief, flying around defensively, forcing some turnovers, making shots, and all of a sudden you just know a few minutes into the game, like, yeah, Arkansas, they ain't losing tonight.
You remember when we were walking in, Curtis, and I was wearing this exact thing. We had gone to the same specific area of Fayetteville for pregame, and I was like, man, this actually reminds me a lot of the Vanderbilt game where, you know, I remember Arkansas was probably a 4-point favorite in that Vanderbilt game. I remember thinking, like, I'd be kind of stunned if they didn't win this game. Mm-hmm. I said those exact words to you pregame. I was like, I know it could happen, but I would be very surprised if Arkansas lost this game. It just kind of had one of those feels very early. Like, I don't know if we ever felt nervous at any point tonight, pregame, mid-game, during a timeout, or anything like that. And then, of course, you had all the festivities at halftime, which I'm sure we'll get to in just a second. It was awesome, and it was just a very good feeling from the jump in this one.
Yes, it absolutely was. Texas got beat up on, man. You know, last year, Texas came to town, and it was a little bit later in the year. It was Trevin's first start after Adu went down, and it was a wide out, and you just kind of thought, man, you feel like Arkansas is going to respond. They're going to roll in this game. That was the Trey Johnson game where he had nearly 40, and it went into overtime, and it was way too close for comfort. Nope, not this time. Sean Miller is calling timeouts like 45 seconds into the game. You already know what it's going to look like. And Arkansas took the fight to them. Maybe before Texas gets out of town, they should go over to Fight House Gym and toughen up a little bit. It's Northwest Arkansas's #1 boxing, MMA, and strength training gym. It's built for athletes, competitors, and anybody ready to push their limits. From high-energy boxing and MMA training to free weights, elite cardio equipment, sleds, and cross-training, Fight House Gym delivers everything you need to train at the highest level. Whether you're a seasoned fighter or just starting your fitness journey, this is the gym that meets you where you are and pushes you further. Fight House Gym is now open at 10131 Webb Way in Fayetteville. That's exit 58 off I-49. So sign up today at fighthousegym.com or call 951-623-9745 and step inside and bring the fight. So you mentioned it there, the stuff at halftime. Let's talk about that. We were kind of wondering because the teams go back into the tunnel. We knew there was going to be an announcement coming at halftime, and they set everything up. And all of a sudden, you got everybody involved with Tyson out there on the floor, and they announced formally announced the NIL deal with the patches on the jerseys and everything like that. And it's like, okay, this is cool. They bring out a player for each team besides men's and women's basketball, wearing the jersey with the patches on it and everything to show it off. And then it kind of wraps up. And so we're like, is this it?
Yeah.
All that fuss over this. And then it's like, oh, now hold on, Razorback fans. We got one more announcement to make. And as soon as they started walking Nolan Richardson out there, you already knew what was going to happen. And so they announced finally that the statue's being built for Nolan. They give him the microphone. That voice, you said, it just continues to resonate, man. Like it just reverbs across the entire building. He didn't even need the mic. He could have spoke to 19,000 people in there, and everybody could have heard him. Like it just still carries. There's something about it. But that was an awesome, awesome moment. He told the fans to call the Hogs. He called the Hogs. That's so, you can say overdue or whatever. I just say it's so awesome that it's happening, and it's well-deserved. And there's no time better than the present. And Arkansas did a lot of things right today. Hunter Yurchek did a lot of things right today. But for them to do this and announce it in that moment, the way that they did, I can't think of a job that could have been better done than the U of A today. So happy for Nolan. I think this is awesome.
100% agreed. And you remember Nolan did pull the move at Bob's celebration where everyone's going up there on the mic and he just stands in front of the podium and he's like, I'm going to talk. Y'all are going to listen. But, yeah, always good to see him and hear him talk. And, he didn't say much, just kind of gave his little words, thank you, and then led, hey, I want you guys to call the Hogs. And everybody was fired up. Everybody was excited. Everyone knew what that moment meant. And I'm with you, man. Like, I'm sure other people are going to have this conversation, but I'm glad that we were able to do this with Nolan. Obviously, 2019, you get his name on the court, so he knows he's got that recognition. He knows how loved he is in Arkansas, but to have something that's going to last forever and that we can all literally take our kids, to that statue. You can literally take Wesley, show him that, and be like, this is what this man right here put Arkansas basketball on the map. That's special. And obviously, his legacy is something you can't take away anyway. But having something like this to honor him, it's a complete no-brainer, and I'm glad they did it. And I agree. It was very well executed. Having seen the whole thing, because, you touched on it very well, that throughout the whole thing, we're kind of wondering, is this it? What's going on? Having seen it all play out, though, with the Tyson thing, with the Nolan thing, I feel like it was all very well done. It felt like a big deal. And, I think for a while, I'm sure there's some people that were like, maybe didn't know what was going on, but I thought it was very well done. Shout out to Camden Kojal for getting the biggest pop. Him and Quincy Rhodes are the athletes by far. I'm all excited about the Tyson patch thing, but I'm really, I texted my dad right away, and he was fired up, and it's just one of those things that everyone in the state of Arkansas, whether you're an older person or you're just a young person that's kind of heard about Nolan through the grapevine, we can all get together and point to this and say, this is great. Like, there's nobody who has an objection to that, and so it was a special moment. I'm glad that I was able to be there for that.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Truly, a thunderous ovation there. It gave me chills. That saw a lot of teary eyes in Bud Walton Arena when all that was going down, and rightfully so, man. He's just a staple in the greatest times that we've had as Razorback basketball fans. So cool, so happy about that. You mentioned the patches, Camden Kojal coming out there. He got the loudest pop, but his uniform looked the worst. Can we address that now?
Sure.
Okay.
It doesn't look great on the red baseball uniform, if I'm just being honest.
And it might just be the Reds. I don't know, but it didn't look great on there. For some reason,
it's larger on the baseball jersey than any other jersey. The track one, it's like minuscule. The gymnastics, it's barely there. Baseball, it's like just massive on his shoulder. Hopefully we get that cleaned up at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. What Arkansas did was clean up any drama as it comes to, this SEC race the rest of the way here. Won the game, so no funny business this weekend. We don't have to deal with it. Oh, what has to happen to get the double bye, whatever. Arkansas wins this basketball game, took care of business. Now they are guaranteed no worse than the 3rd seed when we go to Nashville next week. And what is at play here is the 2 seed. Arkansas wins Saturday. Alabama loses. You get the 2. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. You would play somebody different, I guess, on Friday, but there's not going to be that much of a tangible difference. You play Alabama on the Saturday game anyway if you win, but getting that double bye is so important for Arkansas because when this team is well rested and they come out there with the batteries fully charged, they're really, really hard to deal with. And even though they look great tonight, some of these guys we know could take a little bit of a load off there. Huge result for Arkansas to get this done here, and it takes some pressure off for Saturday. Now, I'm sure we'll have the conversations about, okay, well, so now you just you hide Acuff sneakers so he can't play on Saturday or whatever you want to do. I'm guessing he is probably going to play. Like he's a gamer, but I thought they got him out a couple times in this game. They got him out for a stretch in the first half. What you can do now is not have the game pressure on you to where maybe you can go strategically into Missouri and say, all right, Sealy's in there. We got 8 guys, whatever, and we're going to all play everybody a certain amount of minutes. Or, hey, DJ's playing well. Let's get him some more run. We'll play him 30-plus, and we'll take some of those off of Acuff, whatever. There are ways you can go about this without having the pressure of like, damn, we got to figure out how to win this game for sure, though. I'm not saying tank. I'm not saying not try to win, but you can be smart and strategic about it as you go forward. Because it's easy because I already see people in the chat going, just set Acuff. Just sit him. Just don't play him. They've been trying to do that for weeks now, and he ain't having it. So,
Yeah, I think, we all understand that rest and being healthy and, kind of balancing things, you need to keep that in mind. And so we're all on the same page on that. And everyone has their different ideas in terms of what should Arkansas tangibly do, whether that's switch up the rotation, rest guys completely, switch up the way that you substitute or whatever it is. For me, it's not even as much about what they actually do different, because I think in general, from a big picture standpoint, they're still going to go to Missouri. They're still going to play. They're still going to play hard for the minutes on the floor. They're still going to try and win. Nothing actually changes in your operation, but it's the lack of stress. It's the fact that you can go into it knowing, hey, there's not all this crazy pressure. We were talking about on the way out of the arena, Arkansas got to play the entire second half tonight without stressing or worrying at all. The game was never in question. The difference in playing 18 minutes in a game like that versus 18 minutes in a game that is a nail-biter back and forth and you need this one to survive, mentally and physically and emotionally draining on a completely different level. And so I don't expect Arkansas to rest a ton of guys Saturday. I don't expect them to rest Acuff. Maybe they'll take it a little bit easier. Maybe they might get him out more than, earlier than they normally would. But I think it's more about the mental exhale a little bit, allow this team to kind of just play loose, play free, just keep your legs under you, kind of stay in rhythm, stay keeping the vibe that you have now. But in terms of what Arkansas does, I don't think it's going to change all that much going into Saturday.
No, and it can't. And I hope that's the thing that everybody understands. different circumstances, you might have more flexibility. But with this team built the way that it is, if you think that John Calipari is going to take, a top 20 team on the road to Missouri for the final game of the regular season and play Amir Brown, Aiden Kelly, Jaden Carletla, and Elmer Zaffich 40 minutes and just let everybody else sit and watch, that's not that's not based in reality. No. Those guys aren't going to be a part of the game plan. They're not going to be a part of the rotation. Maybe he gets them in there late, but I'm just trying to tell you that's just the way that it's going to be. But yes, taking some minutes off some guys is something that they're going to be able to do. Like Thomas Houck set out. They played Mississippi State the other day. They already had what they needed clinched. So, it's not unprecedented for them to do this. I just find it very, very unlikely that all of a sudden it's going to happen with Acuff. And Florida's got more depth, man. Like for Arkansas, because Cal's not – it's not like all of a sudden, if you take Acuff out, do we think that they're just going to you know what, we'll give 25 to Jaden Carletla? No, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So,
I remember Arkansas. I'm gonna talk about baseball for just a second, Curtis.
Yeah.
I remember Arkansas came back from the SEC tournament. We're going into the SEC tournament last year. I remember Matt Hobbs talking about how they put Hagen Smith on a pitch count in the SEC tournament in Hoover to try and conserve him or whatever. And then he starts in the regional, and we all remember how it goes. It didn't go well. And Matt Hobbs said that was a mistake to take my best competitor, my best leader, and basically tell him to stop being a competitor and stop being a leader for a weekend. And it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is kind of hard when you get into that mode of oh yeah, let's turn it off for right now, and then we'll turn it on later. I know it sounds like a good idea in theory, but most teams and the way they function and the way these athletes are wired don't really operate that way. I also come back to, if you're going to try and run a marathon, you would not forego running for 4 months and then say, I'm going to wait until the day of the marathon. I'm going to save all my bullets then. You have to build up that endurance. And so I think there could also actually be more harm done in completely turning it off and unplugging completely and then saying, oh yeah, we'll just turn it on next week. I think that's a way more dangerous game than just going through the motions, which is what they're probably going to do.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you for sure. Okay, we're going to get to your chats here in just a second, but first got to tell you, as always, about our partners over at OZK Insurance. They've been taking care of us throughout the course of the season here at the Pot the Palace and with all of our post-game content, and we really do appreciate them. The one thing that sets OZK apart is that they're an independent insurance agency, so they're not tied down to one carrier. They get to shop them all. They'll find the best price and coverage for you, and they've got the new full-service mobile app where you can find all your policies under one roof. You can pay your bills, request roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes, all from the convenience of your phone. So if you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or choosing, chasing down paperwork or whatever, go to ozkinsurance.com or just search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. All right, let's pop over to the chat. We got a lot going on here, and appreciate everybody for hanging out with us here tonight. It's only 8:30. Yeah. Which is nice. It's usually at least 11:15 by now when we're doing these things. Sharkensaw says TB owns Jokatitis. Jokatitis, Hackatitis, Vocatitis. That dude is on my nerves the entire game. I knew it was going to be the case. I am so happy that Trevin Brazil put that man on a poster that he'll never be able to live down.
Yeah. You know what? He is now, I apologized earlier for getting his name wrong. He has now been, he's Dylan Volantis. Yeah. He's Dylan Volantis now. That's who he is. Yep. He's not Volatitis. He's Dylan Volantis.
Yes, he definitely is. Good player, but
yeah,
not crazy about him. And he should have been called for that hook on Malik Ewan that he was mad about.
Yeah.
Pooh Bear says, I'm going to miss Acuff. Yeah, me too. They just got to keep winning, and he'll play several more games.
Did we get word on whether or not 42 Doug was there to see him?
I have no idea.
I didn't I know he said he was coming, but I don't know if anybody saw him or was taking pictures or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Somebody will know. Filthy Tom says this game could not have gone better. All the storylines played out perfect for the last game at Bud Walton Arena. Instant nostalgia. Yeah.
That is a good point. And it's going to be now a game that 5 years from now we'll be able to point to this Texas game, not because of the way the game played out, but just hey, you remember going into the NCAA tournament, how they had that awesome, senior night at Bud, and we announced the Nolan stuff. This will now be one of those games that, we kind of just mark in time, I think.
Yeah. There's no way this is right.
What could you have seen?
Well, Lenardi. So remember what I told you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lenardi bumped Arkansas down all these spots yesterday when they didn't play. So Tennessee, they got bumped up for beating South Carolina at home. Vanderbilt got bumped up for beating Ole Miss in overtime.
Another great win.
Arkansas did not move,
which we did predict at Blue Ember today. I think when you more than triple the spread, I think you got to move up at least one little spot.
I mean, come
on. Hey,
I
did see Arkansas moved up to 16 in KenPom in the
as
chat.
They should. Yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not, but I that's what I saw in the chat, and I
believe that. Yeah. And yes, I know Lenardi's horrible. Yes, I know he's not good in the bracket matrix, but just not trying to pat myself on the back, but called it. I knew that was going to be the case with that dude. A jackass. Okay. Moving on. Someone son says, "Get out of this kitchen, Volatitis." Yeah, that dude, man.
I tell y'all firsthand, that Trevin Brazil dunk got Curtis out of his seat. Genuinely, he stood up and immediately started chanting. Like, he was fired up for that, man. That got me going too.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. You love to see it. Parker Hutchinson says, "Can we poach big white dude from Texas for next year's roster?" Absolutely. I hate him, but I take him.
Yeah, I mean, Elmer needs a guy to guide, for next year. He's been learning from Pringle. Now he can guide Volatitis as his backup.
Oh, I would take him in a heart. Wouldn't you, though? Like, would you take him in a heartbeat? Yeah.
I hate watching him shoot free throws, though. I'd not like that.
Yeah, no kidding. What'd he wind up? 3 of 6 up there. I'm surprised that's all he shot, to be honest with you. They were 14 and 27 at the line, Texas. Gross. Nasty work. Donut Boy.
Yeah.
So, great game from every player. We need this Pringle every night. And Brazil, just damn. Woo freaking pig, Suey, baby. Yeah.
Those fouls, man, were so big. Those were the biggest plays of the game, I felt.
Yeah. I feel like every time Pringle is like semi-serviceable, I do the bit where I'm like, if you could tell me every night that I could get 8 points and 4 rebounds and sprinting the floor, Nick Pringle, I'd take it. Well, I would in a heartbeat. And he was being assertive out there. We talked about it, and he's never going to be like a go-to scorer or anything like that. But I liked seeing him tonight when he got matched up with that freshman forward, Nick Cody, and he just eyed him up. And I was like, I'm going right at this dude and threw this dude to the rim and drew a foul on him. You can do that. And, yeah, you might go to the line and go 1 for 2 once you get up there. But the fouls add up for other teams too. So I thought he played well tonight, man. Good on Nick Pringle. Good energy, good vibes. I'm happy with it. Washburn Idol, this is awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate the super chat. Says, I've seen enough. John has to stay in Mexico. He might not have a choice.
Yeah. Well, and with John not here, we don't have anyone to press the button, so we'll just have to go beep, 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 which is Jackson Kersher's walkout music. And I appreciate someone who popped in the chat yesterday to just say, hey, John Cena's music is on.
That's pretty good, man. Yeah, John is safe in Mexico for now, as far as we know. He texted us a couple times, and we'll see the next few days hold. I'm sure he will have stories to tell whenever he makes it back. So, Hairless Hog of his word, says, "Sign me up for another year of this version of DJ. What a night! It's good to see, man. DJ was hooping out there."
Listen, he's not going to go 3 for 4 from 3 every game. He's not going to score 16 or whatever it was every game. He'll have his 6-point games. He'll have his 10-point games or whatever. But DJ seems like a guy who is not only fully accepted his role, understands it, and is just like really starting to find a groove in it. And the way he played, I thought his energy of just getting down the floor. He had that transition bucket where I think Acuff just threw basically just a lob outlet pass, and he looked like a wideout going down there to get it. His athleticism, when he's playing off ball, his athleticism is different. You were saying at pregame that he's just a little bit bouncier this year. I think it's because he doesn't have as many offensive possessions.
You're 100%
so he's not being asked to do much. And so it's like, if all you got to do is run the floor, get in passing lane, shoot spot up threes, it's like, I think he can do that, man. I thought defensively he was, not like, locking anyone down or anything, but you just feel him a little bit. And then once Arkansas gets the ball, he's one of their best transition threats, I feel like.
So I'm looking at KenPom now, which, yes, Arkansas is up to 16th. That's good, man. It's real good stuff. DJ Wagner now on the year, 36% from 3-point range. Trevin Brazil after this game, 35% from three-point range. And then you got Leak and Acuff up over 40. It's good stuff, man. You love to see it. You love to see it. And then Billy Richmond's hit 11 on the year. He's only 25%, but I mean, he was 2 of whatever last year. He has made more than he attempted last year. So he was taking the bait a little bit early today. Yeah. They were doing a thing where he just backed off of him. He was like, "Oh, you dare me to shoot a jumper? I'll do it."
They're like, "Yes, we do."
Yeah. And eventually we were like, maybe not tonight, but Billy was awesome though. Good stuff. Trip Conley says the Trevin haters are pretty quiet tonight.
Well, hey, we spoiler for later in the chat. We're gonna get to at least one of the Trevin haters who is ready to talk. He's not, he's not causing trouble tonight. I got his back on this one. We're gonna get to the Trevin haters in just a minute.
That's right. One Cubs fan says, "Perfect night. Let's go. Awesome to see TB get the and one at the end of the first half and high five those fans. Acuff is him. Gonna miss him. Billy Goat." One of my favorite moments of the game was Nick Pringle. He had been out there for a while. You could tell he was tired, and it's like an effort play, dove for the floor on a loose ball. It's not easy for that big man to get up, and Arkansas is flying down the floor in transition. It might have been Acuff, I don't remember, Billy, somebody, and you see Trevin run up behind Nick Pringle and literally pick him up off of the ground, like grabbed him by his shoulders and picked him up and like pushed him, like, "Hey, let's get back down the floor." That was one of my favorite moments of the night to see. So yeah, him interacting with the crowd and everything, that was a lot of fun to see. And he even got into his bag a little bit. He had some of those little turnaround jumpers that he made in there, some and ones. He was showing off a little bit, and his first 3 was deep and contested.
I really genuinely, you mentioned Trevin, like kind of picking him up and kind of patting him a little bit. I genuinely wonder if someone on staff told the team during pregame shoot around this morning, like, "Hey, maybe roughhouse a little bit with each other." Like kind of, because I saw a lot of that in pregame. Guys kind of, giving each other a little elbow, kind of just being, guys being dudes, frankly, because we all know in college, that's just how you interacted with your buddies. You slapped them in the nuts. It's just what you did. I saw a lot of that tonight, which, I think is cool just from a team chemistry standpoint. But I wonder if that was like a mentality of like, "Hey, we're done being, sad about our bumps and bruises. Like, let's be physical tonight." And they were, man.
Yes, yeah, they definitely
nobody more
were.
So than Trevin Brazil. If you had never watched Trevin play and just watched tonight, you'd be like, "Damn, that's a physically imposing player."
Yeah, that stretch he had there in the first half where he was defending the big fella was really impressive in there. Like, he was meeting that dude at the rim and was not getting shoved underneath it. So it was nice to see. I'm surprised he only finished with 3 blocks, but I mean, damn, dude, 28 points. He was 9-11 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. 7 rebounds and 5 stocks, 3 blocks, 2 steals. That is a heck of a game from TB. The only player who really didn't play well today was Ewan. Ewan seemed a little out of it today, and I think he got frustrated pretty quick with the fouls. And after that, he just seemed like he wasn't really locked in. But outside of that, man, I thought everybody kind of hooped.
Well, we talk a lot about how, and I think there's even a chat about it later, about how teams are going to do what they can do against you, which against this Arkansas team, they're going to attack the interior. As a Hog, you basically have to not only just embrace that, but accept that and then go on the other floor, on the other end of the floor and get yours. Ewan got very discouraged when it didn't go his way defensively. When Volatitis or whatever would get in and finish over him and he'd get called for a foul, he let that kind of bother him and take him out of the game, which we see that happen with Trevin a lot. The difference was in this game, Trevin had success early. So he was able to just ride that. Ewan definitely got discouraged by some defensive possessions that didn't go his way. Mm-hmm. And I thought the answer would have just been go on the other floor and get you an easy lob dunk from Acuff. There's 7 of them available today. Just go get a few. And he did get one later, but definitely not like his most consistent game.
Yeah, I would agree. I was just looking at some of the other numbers. Arkansas blocked 7 shots. That tracks 38 fast break points for the Razorbacks in this game. I mean, they're 3rd in the country, and they average like 22. So they were flying up and down the floor in this one.
I bet that doesn't include the lob dunk that Billy had that prompted Sean Miller to call that timeout early because it was off a made basket.
Yeah.
And then Acuff just dribbles down, and Billy, he beat everyone down the floor by 12 feet. Wasn't even close. And which is, I mean, that's when you call timeout and you're like, "Hey, guys, we got to figure out this situation here." But, yeah, they were flying.
I got to admit, I kind of like Sean Miller. I kind of like him.
He's a good coach. There's no doubt about that. He's a good coach.
He's animated on the sidelines. He sweats like crazy.
Sweating through his shirt.
Yeah. He's very like transparent with what he says about his guys. And it's not like throwing him under the bus. It's almost like making fun of him. And I appreciate that, man. I thought he was pretty funny tonight. Might be Mike. We appreciate you. He says was off by 1-3 for TB. You did say 4 threes out of Trevin. Monster game, 10+ point win. Yes, you nailed that. I said glad to see knocks off crutches. Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. We'll talk about it in a second. Cal Masterclass with the minute distribution. 3J Wagner. No chill Bill was awesome. DA was DA, and shout out to Nick. Yeah, a lot of good shout outs there. The knocks, yes, we noticed that. Not on crutches, still a slight limp, but he was moving around okay. And he got it's not like he was out there getting a workout in or anything, but was just shooting some little layups and stuff. And he was rebounding for some of the guys during warmups. I like seeing him with the team and involved out there. I thought that was good.
And he was talking to guys a lot, very engaged, not even just like, oh, hey, bro, what's up? Like, very like full on.
Part of the team.
Guys are shooting, going out there and talking. I don't know what they're talking about. It could be girls, it could be beer, it could be anything. But it's like he's not just one. Because you see that sometimes with guys who are out injured, especially if they don't plan on coming back. They're just kind of sitting in the chair over there, or you don't really see them out. He felt like a guy who wanted to be out there with his guys, and he looked like a guy. He was even doing the thing where he's standing under the goal, just doing layups. That's all he could do. I'm sure that's all he's cleared to do right now, but he's going to do it. It's like one of those. And so that strikes me as a guy who wants to be out there, which, we'll see if he ends up being able to, but he didn't strike me as someone who is super checked out.
No, yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Do we need to pour one out real quick for Jordan Pope?
We do, man. That's a rough, that's just one of those no good, very bad days that just don't go as planned. It's crazy because it's one of those situations where it's like, it wasn't like he was just all over the place reckless, but every single time he was involved in a play, he got called for a foul. I think it was 2 in the first 2 minutes is what I think happened. They leave
put him back in
there.
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah, they leave him out there. They say, hey, you know what? We're just going to live with it. He gets a third one after about 4 or 5 minutes. And then I'm talking about the first possession of the second half gets called for a foul. And it was like, I think it might have been 4 different players that got him. And they were all 4 different plays, but yeah, pour one out for that boy. Just did not have it today.
4 minutes, 4 fouls, 0 stats beyond that. That's a rough day at the office, man. He did get a shot up eventually, at least, but he didn't make it. Crazy work. From BDJB says TB legacy game. Love that for him.
Listen, you're only as good as your last performance. It's a what have you done for me lately? And the last thing Trevin Brazil did for Bud Walton Arena was light that bitch on fire. You know what I mean? Like, there we go.
That's how I will choose to remember Trevin Brazil right there this night. No doubt about it. He was awesome, though, man, and good for him. The thing about Trevin, and Andrew, me and you were talking about this when we were driving back from Blue Ember today, is like you asked me the question. I'm gonna let out our secret conversations here, but you said you think I guess maybe this is right before the game in the stands. Yeah. You said you think Trevin was emotional today. You think he cried today thinking about his last game in Bud Walton Arena? And right away I was like, nah. But then we got to talking about it, and Trevin, if you listen to him in press conferences and interviews, he comes across as very nonchalant and everything like that. But he strikes me as one of those guys that does that as a front. And that's not saying anything bad about him, but he cares.
Yeah,
he absolutely cares. If he didn't, he wouldn't have played the way that he did tonight. Say whatever you want about the man. I know tonight meant something to him. There's no doubt about it. He's going to remember that for a long, long time. And I'm just very happy, very, very happy for him. He catches a lot of strays. He has throughout the course of his career. Some of them warranted, because of some of the antics out there or the inconsistencies or whatever. But for him to go out like that, man, at Bud Walton Arena, I just think that's great.
Yeah, could not be more happy for him. I mean, that's the same floor that he tore his ACL, his sophomore year, where he thought he was headed towards being maybe a lottery pick that year. That was 3 full years ago. So much good and bad. Some of his worst days of his life have happened inside that arena. Some of the best days of his life, everything in between. And it meant something to us to watch it, man. I know you and I felt that way, and I know a lot of people in the arena felt that way. It was awesome to see him kind of get that love and to give us something, to give, just to have that mutual relationship where it's like, hey, you're balling. We'll appreciate you for it. And, I always say this about some of these guys. I just hope that in 10, 15 years, Trevin one, looks back on this and remembers how special this time was, but also he knows that, like, bring your family, bring your kids back here and tell them about all the things you did, and we will tell them for you if you want. Bring them back here. I'll tell them how awesome their dad was. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope that he's able to look back on this era of his life as a fond, like, cool memory where he got to accomplish some things, but also where he got to become a man. Like, this is where he really found out who he was, for better and for worse. And I think he appreciates it now, but I think we're all both gonna, like, as time goes on, we're gonna look back at this and really appreciate him for what he was, which is just authentically himself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Derek, thank you, buddy. He says, what a great day, what a great way to go out at Bud for TB and Acuff. Goodness, what a highlight reel. Nice get-back game with a Pringle sighting, 3J Wagner, and Nolan getting his long-overdue statue. Woo pig. Yeah, very much a bounce-back game. They needed that. Need to feel good. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I keep going back to, when Cal said on Monday he felt like they had lost a little bit of their edge. Well, they found it. They found it in this one, and they needed to probably see some shots go down. They needed to see, some action around the rim. They need to feel that success again. I know it was just one game, but hey, we can be honest about it. And we have been. What happened Saturday was bad. I mean, that was emphatic. That's the kind of thing that can deflate the balloon a little bit. But they aired it back up tonight, man, and they're looking good here heading into the postseason.
Absolutely.
Hey, Trevor Brazil. Hogs by 94.
10 months.
Remember for 10 months. Yeah, that's big time there. Yes, Trevor Brazil indeed. Phil, always good to see Phil in here. He says, so glad to see TB and Acuff go out like that at Bud. 3J balling 2. Whoopik Suey. Turkey strutting. Big time tonight. This is a turkey strut kind of night.
For sure.
It's warranted. It's warranted for sure. I saw this one. It's a non-super chat. I'm going to pull it up real quick just because it made me laugh. Hog fan says they played with their food. They beat their ass.
If by played with your food, you mean they danced with the big chicken that was out there tonight at Bud Walker.
Yeah.
Did everybody see that, by the way?
That
they
was
played
awesome,
with their
by
food.
the way.
They won by 20. You're right. They could have won by 30. They've had a lot of games where they do stuff like that. But no, I'm okay with that.
It cracked me up. Hickory Hog 94 says they stood no chance. Saw them off. TB and Acuff go out with a bang. Pringle even almost looked like SEC Nick for 30 seconds or so. Woo pig. Well, we're going to introduce this now because SEC Nick has got one more game, and then we graduate to postseason Pringle.
Yeah.
Everybody be ready for that. Nick Pringle. And if you want to know what postseason Pringle is, I'll tell you right now. Google Elite Eight, Alabama versus Clemson, and watch those highlights, and you will see postseason Pringle and what he's capable of doing on this stage. You better put some respect on that man's name, damn it.
That's crazy. Listen, I'm all for it, man. Listen, I didn't think Jonas Adu was going to play the way he did in the NCAA tournament, so a little bit different situation, but no, I'm all for it. Listen, I didn't see the back brace for Pringle tonight.
I neither.
If he did, he slipped it on. I never saw it come out.
I never want to see that thing again, to
Never.
be honest with you. Miss Dansvan says, I loved how TB dunked it on the head of that big laryngitis guy.
I love
This is
that.
an epic chat right here.
I love that.
Yeah, that dude, man. That was awesome. Just flushed it in his face. Blocking his dunk attempts. That was very satisfying to see. I'll leave it at that. That was good. Great chat, by the way. T Razorback says, one last TB poster in Bud Walton has me sentimental. Also, Acuff officially the best hog ever, in my opinion.
Now that he's finished up his home stretch at Bud Walton, officially the best hog ever. Interesting.
We'll see where he takes him. But this is it's been an absolutely ridiculous season here.
Yeah, unbelievable regular season.
I saw he wound up on was it Rothstein's list? The first team All-American or whatever. The accolades that man is going to rack up over the next couple of weeks here, it's going to be absurd. There's going to be multiple every day.
We keep, when we do have the conversation of best hogs ever, it's tough because then you're starting to compare him to 3-year hogs, 2-year hogs, guys that played in the NBA for 10 years. I'll just say that for the stage that he's at, which is whatever it is, 28 games into his career or whatever, nobody in their life has been better through 28 games than Darius Acuff. That's the way I'm going to frame this conversation because that's the only thing I can really speak to. I've seen the first 28 games of hundreds of hogs. I ain't seen the first 28 games better than this for sure.
Absolutely, man. From Slimly, and appreciate you for the super chat, says, 1, thank you, TB, for being a hog. 2, is DJ finally finding his rhythm with the team, or has he just stacked a couple good showings these last couple games? 3, what we think about that double action. 1, yeah, 4-year hog, man. You got to appreciate that. 2, I think DJ is finding a rhythm. I think he is finding a rhythm. He's been pretty good since they came off the bye, but there's something to be said for just kind of knowing what your role is going to look like, and I think that certainly helps. But yeah, I mean, I think he's really starting to settle in here and find his stride a little bit.
He knows exactly what he's being asked to do, and he's very capable of doing that. It's that simple, honestly.
Yeah. 3, what do we think about that double action? Are we talking about doubling the post?
I wonder if he means blitzing the ball screens, because if he does, I love that.
Absolutely love that. That was a great call, because we're kind of wondering, what are they going to do? Because Swain's such a good ISO player. Well, you get the damn ball out of his hands. So they did a really good job with that. And Nick was working his butt off early of, really hedging that and doubling and then sprinting back and getting back to the big man. And if we're talking about doubling the post in there a little bit, I like that too. I thought they were pretty good about it. Quick hands from Malik Thomas, and DJ was really good in there when he was dropping down and helping. And they had to at times with Trevin in there. So any doubling that Arkansas did in this game, I thought they did a pretty solid job at it. I wish they would have done more of it in some other games, but hey, I'll take it right now. They're adapting. They're working on
adjustments. Cool. It's nice to see something different thrown at some of these things.
Yes, man, no doubt. Blue Chasing Blue says, Cal doing the running man on the sideline, priceless. I'm happy for Brazil on his night. Did you see Cal in real time doing that?
So I didn't. I saw a few chats about this. I definitely need to go back and watch like the TV copy of the game to see some of this, because I didn't have my eyes on Cal. We were behind the bench ish. So I really didn't have like a good view of him. I wasn't really paying attention to him most of the time.
It was after Acuff drove it right through somebody's chest and finished one there. It was like midway through the second half, I guess. It was a little bit before we got out of there. So it was probably early second half. And he was just strutting. He did his thing there, which was pretty hilarious. They might have got scored on right after that. It was one of those moments where I was, bitching while we were sitting there about like, why does Acuff not get that call as Cal was doing that? So yeah, it was good stuff, man. Bo Subtle, it's DJ Wagner, eyeball emojis. I mean,
I like it.
It's good work there by Mr. DJ. Pooh Bear says Sean Miller on Darius Acuff Jr. Oh, I guess from his press conference said, my 34 years, I've never seen a point guard better. Hey, it's high praise coming from Sean Miller, who used to, pay point guards to come play for him before that was allowed. So
yeah, he would pay him as much as like $50,000. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was wild, man. But no, that's good stuff there. I always look forward to listening to pregame and postgame of the opposing coach and kind of see what they say about Arkansas. Yeah. Sean Miller is a great watch because he always has some good one-liners about his own team. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking out that for sure. Okay, is this a good time to go ahead and address this? Butcher Boy says, on behalf of Ryan, great showing, TB.
Yes, we can, because Ryan, contrary to what people were trying to act like in the chat, which I think we've got a couple coming from him. So should we just jump to the Ryan ones real quick?
Yeah, we can jump to the Ryan ones real quick.
He said great game from TB off the bat. So he's okay to admit that. He followed up. TB was active on defense, knocked down shots, but most of all, he was engaged and gave high effort. Great game from him. Happy for him. I didn't see it start, but he had another chat where he was basically like, I'm never going to choose my own ego over cheering for the Hogs. Like, obviously I would want – so, we all kind of framed it as like, gotcha, Ryan. He put his hands up and was like, obviously this is what I want. Like, I'm happy for this. And then he did give us a super chat. Said TB was great. He showed out on the hater today. So listen, Ryan's not ducking smoke. Ryan's not sitting here trying to be like, oh, actually, he's taking it, in stride. He's happy the Hogs won. We're all good here, right? We're all good here, and we appreciate that. And listen, contrary to how it might seem, we actually really do appreciate the back and forth. Sometimes you got to commit to a bit,
I misjudged you, Ryan, because I thought that you were going to lean into the bit of, I want him to, why doesn't he do that every night? That's his problem. Now he'll go to Missouri and whatever. And hell, he might, he might. But for you to acknowledge the greatness of tonight, and it's exactly what it was. Good on you.
Well, because tonight is not even a night you could do that. Because if you say, why can't he do this every night? You're saying, why can't he be the literal best player in the country? Because if he does this every night, 28, 7, and 3 blocks or whatever, that dude would be collecting all the hardware.
Yeah. That's this is the gentle side of Ryan. It's the grandpa.
He's gotten soft ever since he became a grampy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Good stuff, though, man. We appreciate you. Josh Cunningham, thank you for being here. He says, Nolan, what a beautiful homage. Love the teamwork on offense and defense. And how about Wagner? I that was well done with the Nolan thing there. I just love that they gave him an opportunity to get on the mic. I thought that was really cool. Him saying, "Hey, what can I say? Call the Hogs," and we had that moment. That was awesome. The teamwork really showed in this game today. We talked about how it just seemed like they were having fun and being intentional about being a little bit more active with each other there. And yeah, man, DJ was balling out. Love that from DJ. Jaded Sports Fan says, you can tell these guys love playing with each other. Sad that'll be the last time we see them at Bud, but the vibes are high going into the tourney. Yeah, for sure. And even in like the bad games they've had and everything, I remind me of a time if I've missed it, but I've never really seen these guys going at each other.
I haven't, no. Other than Cal and Acuff yelling at each other.
Yeah, Cal is a different story.
I've never seen the players having weird beef with one another. They usually hype each other up a lot. Yeah,
Cal was going off on Acuff tonight. He'd already had his double-double, and Cal was yelling at him about something. Acuff's like, bro, what do you want from me, man? But yeah, the player-to-player stuff, I really haven't seen much of that. I'm trying to think. I won't think about it too hard because it obviously hasn't been a whole hell of a lot of a thing. I like this from Walla Walla Hog. He says, Curtis beating Texas might not be a big deal intrinsically to you, but it is to my generation. Go Hogs. I like that. And I led off with that, by the way. It's a much bigger deal to the generation above me is what I said. And then the generation below me probably really doesn't get it. But, my time frame, like our parents taught us, hey, we don't like Texas. So we understand it, but we might not feel it quite as much. So, I bet that it was awesome for you, and as it should be.
I saw too much orange in the crowd tonight. I didn't like how much orange I saw. I didn't really scan the student section too much. I'm sure there was some dorks from Austin and wearing stuff in there. But yeah, I always like beating Texas. I just personally wish Texas cared about basketball because it would be a lot more fun to throw it in their faces. But I don't even think you can get people in Austin to pretend that they are sad about this.
Correct. Yeah, you were absolutely right about that.
They're like, Tremont Mark's our lead guard, bro. We knew we were going to be a bubble team. We're good.
Yeah. I was actually disappointed in the lack of contested mid-range pull-up jumpers from Tremont Mark tonight.
Well, he made all of them and got fouled on all of them is what really happened. Mm-hmm. No, Tremont Mark, he played pretty well. It's interesting to me that Tremont Mark popped off and his team didn't seem to have success. I wonder – it's interesting to me.
Yeah. Familiar, almost.
Yeah.
It's a wild thing there. Big – whoa, where'd it go?
Big Shasta.
There we go. Awesome game, Hogs. Wish the crowd could have stayed longer to give Acuff and the boys a bigger curtain call. Blame that on the horn sucking. Another reason to hate. Some beat the traffic vibes when they had that blowout going on, I guess. It wound up actually being a very, very strong crowd. It wasn't leading up to the game, obviously 6 p.m. tip and everything wasn't great at the start of the game, because they were doing the intros for the fellas and everything. And it was like, man, there's not many people here. I would say I remember at the under 16 timeout, Arkansas was up 16-4 or whatever. They'd had several dunks already. And I was seeing a bunch of people filing in to get to their seats. And I'm like, damn, they've already missed a lot. But after that, I thought that was a pretty solid crowd. Wasn't nowhere near the best of the year, but it was a good one.
You can always kind of see that coming with 6 p.m. crowds where, if you get to your seat at 5:50, you will have to fight through a completely flooded concourse. And so you kind of get in there and you look at the crowd, but it's like there's 4,000 people in the concourse right now. And so it's like, it kind of evens out, and, it's tough to get over there at 6 p.m. Right. Some people have real jobs and stuff. So I get it, but exactly. I did think it filled out pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Big super chat here. Thank you for that. You want to do the thing?
Beep, beep, beep. I actually, I was kicking it with Jeremy and Jen just the other day. I saw them at Bomb, and they were repping Inside Arkansas.
Love that.
I feel bad because he just gave us money, but I'm gonna embarrass Jeremy a little bit. Oh. He came to show me. He was like, "Hey, look, I'm wearing my Inside Arkansas," and he had just got a stain on there. I'm talking about like,
oh no,
I'm like, I almost watched the stain get formed, and I pointed it out, and then I immediately felt bad, where I was like, "Dang, I feel like kind of a jerk." But and so now I'm bringing it up for thousands of people to see. But we love you, Jeremy. We appreciate you for all your support, of course, and look forward to seeing you at Bomb here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the super chat. That's good stuff right there. And we will do our best to keep up the great work. Lanky says, sentimental night for me. I went through college with TB on the team. Grateful to watch all his home games under Muss in person. Forever a fan. It's good stuff right there.
Yeah, I like that, man.
He's been here for a while.
Yeah, there's Trevin certainly. He's like your brother that just does stupid stuff, and you're like, geez. But it's like you have to defend him because that's your brother, and it's cool to see this version of him for sure. And I think there's a lot of us that you see yourself in TB a little bit, the highs and the lows, Or do you not see any of yourself in TB?
I'll consider that for a little while, and I'll get back.
Well, you're not as much of a loose cannon as I am, so it's like I see Trevin, and I'm like, yeah, that's relatable as hell, actually.
Yeah, I get it. Hickory Hog says, your check is a couple moves away from getting off my hot seat. He is almost maybe kind of somewhat due some respect, I guess.
So I don't begrudge anybody for feeling this way. I'm not saying, hey, they actually need to fire him right now. I don't know how much of today's events Hunter Yurachek gets that much credit for. Like, did he lead the charge and fight to get Nolan his statue, or did it get brought to his desk and he signed off on it? Same with the Tyson deal. Did he come up? Did he really pitch this whole thing to John Tyson and be like, hey, this is going to be the thing? Maybe he did. He very well could have. I genuinely don't know. But I don't know if good things happen today and sometimes bad things happen. Not all of it is directly applicable to the athletic director, but I thought that the U of A as a whole should get some credit today. How about that?
Yeah. Great day for the U of A. I thought Hunter did a good job. They're announcing the Nolan thing and all that. That was pretty cool. And he seemed like he had a little bit of nervous energy in his voice when he was feeling that too. But
probably getting choked up a little bit. I mean, a lot of us were.
A little bit. Why not? But yeah, hell of a day for the U of A, and absolutely a solid day for the Hunter Yurachek PR campaign. That's for sure. Paddlefish says, if we played like this, can we beat Florida in the SEC tournament? I don't know about beating Florida, man. With that type of physicality and relentless effort defensively, it would be a much better game. The Florida thing. Florida is, how can I say this? They are clearly, without question, a better basketball team than Arkansas, but they are not 34 points better than Arkansas consistently. It's not a thing. Arkansas will be much more competitive if those two teams played again. I would say Florida would win the game, but I think Arkansas will be a lot more competitive.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I also think there's something too, sometimes you have two B+ teams, or maybe even a B and a B+ team, but then they play and it's way different. It's well, in this particular game, we're actually an A+ and you're a C-. And I think there's a little bit of that with Arkansas, Florida, where it's no matter what, it's going to be hard for Arkansas to be the best version of themselves against Florida. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't hate getting another crack at them just to kind of see where we're at. You know what I mean? Just to find out. Because then if you beat us by 30 again, it's all right. Fair enough.
And then if you send another super chat and ask that question about the NCAA tournament, I'll be like, they're going to get their ass kicked.
I'm like, if you do it again, fool me once, shame on you. But you beat us by 34 in the SEC tournament. We'll just call it a day and hope we don't see you in March. Let's just leave it at that. That would be funny. We were like, yeah, give us Florida. They just beat the shit out of us.
From we'd be playing the it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year card. And
to beat a team 3 times.
Jafra says gel time is at an all-time low, but I'm suspicious about Leak's 3-point volume. Not sure why he isn't taking 5 to 7 a game. What do you get? 3 of them up there, and I almost feel like here's the thing, because he's being aggressive. And I thought he looked good going downhill, actually, in this game today. Made some nice plays in there. And I feel like somebody said something to him at halftime. Like, hey, you're statistically one of the top 3-point shooters in the conference. Maybe shoot him, because he came out there and took a couple heat checks. And then he had a hard foul on Tremont Mark, and Cal got pissed at him and took him out of the game. Then he wound up knocking one down a little bit later, which was good. But, yeah, I'd like to see more volume from him for sure. We've talked about that. Shoot 3 a half instead of just 3 in the second half, and maybe we could be on to something there. But yeah, I mean, if you're not going to shoot him, then be as effective going towards the basket as he was tonight, and getting to the free throw line. He was 4-4 there. Mm-hmm. So overall, I'm okay. Like I thought he was fine in this game, but it would be nice to see him cut loose a little bit out there.
Yeah, I think getting that third foul out of half also kind of affected things. One, because it took him out of the game immediately, and then he went right back in shortly after. But I think that also kind of affected how guns a-blazing he probably was. Not even from a shooting standpoint, from just a overall impact on the game.
Right. Andrew Smith says, don't really understand the whole Hogs weakness is versus talented bigs. What teams does that not apply to? Florida, Michigan, the N. And in 2026, the preferred strength is definitely good guards. What am I missing? Well, that's kind of been our point the entire year about this. Is like that. Yeah, no, Arkansas is not a perfect team. Yes, this is a very clear weakness, but they're still winning a ton of games. In spite of that, and you're right. Like Florida, Michigan, Arizona, Duke. So like your 4-1 seeds, and then outside of that. It's a bunch of teams who, whoever their big guy is might get 20 and 12, but you're probably still going to beat them anyway. So
Arkansas's won many a matchup where other big men popped off. Yeah. They won one tonight. I mean, Volatitis, he had 18 and he only played like 20-something minutes. I think it's a lot more about what you can do to those other guys. And we showed tonight we can do a little bit against those big dudes.
Yes, no doubt. From Lando Lakes says, Sean Miller saying Acuff, best point guard he's seen in 34 years. I'm trying to think who some of his guys were at Arizona.
He had a lot of great players, not many great guards or point guards during that time period. Like a lot of their best players were wings, DeAndre Ayton, big men. They had some other big 7-footer in there, Lauri Markkanen. A lot of his best players at Arizona in terms of like best talents were not point guards, but I mean, he played against several.
Right. That's true. He saw plenty of them.
Yeah. So I mean, if we went through it, you could probably find a ton of those guys.
Yeah. High praise coming from a good coach there. JP Sullivan says that energy in the Palace had me strutting all over the stands. TV7 caught a body. What about 13 assists, son? We got a double turkey strut day.
Hog turkey, yeah. By the way, I think Phil apologized to him. He's like, "Hey, sorry, I jumped the gun on the turkey strut." He did it before JP Sullivan, not knowing JP was gonna come in. You knew a game like tonight. You knew JP was gonna be turkey strut.
That's good people right there. We can have it twice. We could have it thrice if you want to.
Of course. We got several turkey struts left in us. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Was catching the body the highlight of the game for TB? Because like we see him do the in-game windmill like once every other game at this point. Dunking on that dude's head was kind of reminiscent of what he did to that poor Jackrabbit a few years ago.
I mean, Curtis, every time you go to the rim in basketball, it wasn't that bad, by the way. The one he did to that kid down on the baseline there, that was filthy.
That was nasty.
But every time you go to the rim and you're going to try to finish over a big guy, you have two options: go right at him or finish with finesse. You know what I mean? Like, and we see guards all the time kiss that floater up. And a lot of times with TB, you see him kind of, I mean, even in this game, he had one of his missed attempts was him just kind of taking a weird step back two where you're like, oh, come on, you don't need to do that. And he chose violence.
Yes.
People always say you woke up and chose violence. He chose violence in that moment, and he was more violent. And that doesn't really happen that much. So that was my favorite play. But I also think him hitting the first three he took, catch and shoot, early shot clock, boom. If that doesn't go in, I feel like it's a completely different game for Trevin. Like he might not have been as locked in, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point. Those Band Geek says, like and subscribe. Fun times at Bud tonight. Woo Pig Suey. Thank you for that. Yes, please do that while you're here, if you don't mind. Larry Brown, who, not the Larry Brown you might be thinking of, but the Larry Brown that we met.
The Hall of Fame coach.
Exactly. He says, nice to meet y'all at Blue Ember. Wesley is a cutie. Woo Pig Suey. Thank you. That is one way to describe Wesley, who is potentially insane. He comes alive in the nighttime, I guess we should just say. But
he's popping off right now,
dude. He's I think he might actually be napping at the moment. But he'll wake up and he's learned how to screech like a pterodactyl or something, flipping around all over the place when you're trying to change his diaper. He's a madman. He's crazy. He's gonna be running around before we know it.
If this is the Larry I think it is that we met at Blue Ember today, I believe he drove from Osceola 5 hours.
Yes. Yeah,
that's legit. I mean, he was there at the baseball game yesterday, driving up for this, and being there at the last final home game of Bud Walton. I'm glad he was able to make it and able to experience that for sure.
Very cool. He told me he's hung out at some Swatters Club recently, by the way, and is hoping that Arkansas gets the St. Louis draw because it's an easy drive right up 55, man, and go check out the Hogs. So hopefully that works out. I wouldn't be mad about it. Actually, I wouldn't be mad about it, but I don't know.
I would talk myself into it very quickly.
Exactly.
I wouldn't hate San Diego, No,
it'd be okay. Andrew Smith says more likely Arkansas baseball or basketball champions.
What do you think, Curtis?
Probably baseball. We're talking about like this year.
Right. It's not like who's going to do it first. It's this year's teams, the teams we got.
Yeah. Probably baseball. Basketball, there's after a night like tonight, you're like, hey, anything's possible. But we do know that there's a particular archetype of team that the Razorbacks would really, really struggle with. But to win the whole damn thing, I would probably say baseball.
Yeah.
I know it's been a little up and down for them, but they're starting to figure it out here.
I think if you change this answer to more likely to be in the Final Four, because Arkansas was in the Final Four of baseball last year, more likely for them to be in the Final Four or basketball, I think I would go basketball, actually, because I think basketball's path to the Final Four is very clear. You got to beat 1 seed and then 1 2 seed, and you're in the Final Four. Obviously, you got to beat a 12 and a 4 or whatever, 12 and a 5 or whatever. But I think their path is you beat that 1 seed, cool. Them winning the national championship might require you beat 3 of those 1 seeds.
And you might have to
play out a different way, but
you
would have to beat likely some combination of like Arizona and Florida and Duke or something like that. And it's like, I just don't think they're going to do all 3 of those.
That's asking a lot. Sneak one of them, sure. Yeah. But doing the whole damn thing, that would be.
Well, also baseball's definitely winning the Natty. I think we should also just go ahead and say that. I mean, obviously they're winning the Natty.
Here we go again. I hope so. Last one here from Kingsley, and we appreciate you, man, and hope you're continuing to do well. He says, Acuff on the Hog fans. They love you and they support you every day, no matter where you're at. I think we've got the best fans in the world. It's got to feel good. Hear a guy like that who's going to be winning MVPs. He's Cal's next Derrick Rose, next Shea, Darius Acuff. Don't let the draft nerds know.
I like that.
All right, man. Anything else before we wrap it up and get out of here?
Oh dang, yeah. I guess we ain't got no videos or anything to dissect.
No. Producer John is taking the day off in Mexico now.
Real quick, because I saw a bunch of people talking about it in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any big reaction to Beckham Black potentially being in the arena? Also, am I mistaken in thinking that he was taking pictures and signing autographs in our section at one point?
Yeah, I thought that was him. A reaction to that? No. He's spent a lot of time in Bud Walton Arena, and Arkansas is recruiting him extremely heavily. Cal's all over him.
3, right?
Yeah, a lot of familiarity there. My reaction is good, and no better time than the present to continue to get that ball rolling a little bit. But he's one of the very top priorities in next year's class. So it's awesome. It's good. And I want to say he took an unofficial a little bit earlier this season. So that would be like multiple times he's been back, and he basically grew up here. So you got to like Arkansas's chances in a recruitment like this. But all the factors that you would consider in a recruitment favor Arkansas for getting Beckham Black. So it's awesome.
I mean, also, this is one that we've just got to place in the hands of AB. Like,
Yes.
take us home, buddy. Like,
Yeah, come on, man.
if he doesn't go to Arkansas, I'm not saying we should be mad at AB, but, you know, I feel like he's the one who's got to carry the weight here for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. We got a couple other super chats to come in here. This is good. Washburn Idol, thank you again, says, only game I've ever seen in person was against NDS.
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State. Okay, yeah. TB's poster tonight was a poetic bookend for one of my favorite Hogs, going to miss TB. Yeah, so the poster in that, this was a great poster, by the way. So the North Dakota State game, North Dakota State would have been Grant Nelson. Is that right?
Who did he actually put through?
South Dakota State,
Okay.
The Jackrabbit.
Gotcha.
It's who he put through the rim. Now, he probably postered somebody from, them as well. This poster tonight, not as emphatic, but against a much more formidable opponent. You know?
And it meant more because, like, that game was also a blowout or whatever.
Yeah.
This one definitely, and it wasn't nearly on the level of, like, a holy shit moment.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this was a bigger one because it's like we just really haven't seen him do something like that in a while.
Right. This is a great one to wrap on because you were commenting on it the entire game, and he said the audacity of Kendall Weaver's high hairline.
I first want to get our stance out there that we're not making fun of anybody. We're not bullying. Like, listen, we always get annoyed when y'all talk about our appearance, so we're not making, we're not trying to make fun of anybody's appearance. It did remind me a little bit of Duncan Powell.
Yeah.
I'd say he's like 3 years away from the Duncan Powell if he handles the transition well.
Yes.
Hey, you want to talk about dudes who had a dunk? Weaver had a nice little dunk.
He did.
Do it
He's
now.
really athletic.
Yeah, he's a good athlete.
I feel like typically he'd be a guy that's a really good perimeter defender, but you can't do anything with Darius Acuff. Nobody can.
No.
But a nice effort. Yeah, he's bouncing in there.
He made him work hard for those buckets.
Yeah.
He did, but he just still made them.
What did Bucky McMillan say? If he gets 40, you got to make him work for more than 18 or something.
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, okay, we're out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us literally all day. I feel like we've either been live streaming or actively watching basketball all day, and that's not a bad situation. So make sure you come hang out with us again tomorrow for Inside Arkansas Live. TBD for Friday. We will be doing the show. We're just trying to kind of wait and see what happens with baseball to figure out what time. But been a fun day, a lot of good stuff there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and follow us wherever you follow your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen. And we will be back with you guys tomorrow morning. For Andrew Ellis and interns Cameron, intern Gigi, not producer John, although we hope he's having a really good time down in Mexico. I'm Curtis Wilkerson, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a good one.